Good morning, dear students. Today, in this video, second video of quality chapter, we are continuing where we left in the previous one. Page number 74 onwards we will deal today. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, Mr. Gessler, that last pair of boots cracked, He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement. Then said, "It should not have cracked." It did, I'm afraid. Once episode the narrator is telling that once he told Mr. Gessler that your previous boots were cracked. For a minute, he did not believe in it. Even he wanted he should change his statement. He waited. Then he said that it should not crack. But again the narrator said, no, it was. I'm afraid it was. You good then before they found themselves. You got them wet before they found themselves. He said, maybe they were wet. That's why you wet them. Maybe this was the reason. I don't think so. Again the narrator said, no, it was not the case. I did not wet them. At that he lowered his eyes, as if haunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. Then the bootmaker, Mr. Gessler, started looking downwards, and he was trying to imagine that boots, and it was a very serious thing. He said, though in his career he never need to say this statement, send them back, I will look at them. Send them back, he said, it is in German it is written, I will look at them. He said, okay, then send it back, I will see what can be done. Some boots, he continued slowly, are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill. He said, actually some boots are bad since beginning. Since from their birth, meaning since beginning they are bad. And I will see those boots, and if I won't be able to do anything, I am going to return your money. Once only, I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. Generally, the narrator used to purchase boots from him only. But once, without knowingly, absent-mindedly, he purchased one boots from any big firm, and he went inside his shop with those boots. He purchased them in emergency. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, those are not my boots. So this time he felt so hurt that he did not show him any leather for the new coming shoes, because he had noticed the bad leather used in my old boots. But after taking the measurement, he couldn't stop himself, and he commented, these are not my boots. The tone was not one of anger, nor of sorrow, nor even of contempt, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. Though he was not complaining, person is free to purchase from anywhere. He was neither unhappy, nor sorrow, nor angry, nothing. But there was something in his eyes which could make someone's blood froze, meaning one could feel that pain. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. Then he put his finger, he got to know from outside only where the problem in that boot. He touched that place where really the narrator was also feeling hurting. It hurts you there. Those big firms have no self-respect. And then, as if something had given away within him, he spoke long and bitterly. Then he said, It must be hurting you here because the big firms are not thinking all these things. And then when he was talking about big firms, there was something bitter in his heart. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardship of his trade. This was the first time only he talked about the problems of his business, the problems of his shoemaking, because he had to compete with the big firms. And the big firms have lots of money, but they don't have any respect for their work. They get it all, he said. They get it by advertisement, not by work. He said that big firms are capable to get lot of business, not because of quality, but because of advertisement. And here you can see in his shop, he was not making anything in advance. When you are ordering, that time only, because he was not so rich. They take it away from us who loaf our boots. It goes to die, presently a half loafer. He says that they take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this, presently I have no work, every year it gets less. He says that first time Mr. Gessler is speaking about the problems of his trade, that they are taking everything from us. We don't have any work because we are not capable to publish advertisements. Every year we are getting less work. Even I don't have any work. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs. They seemed suddenly in his red beard. Suddenly I noticed that the pain was reflecting on his face as well. I noticed bitter things, bitter struggle, hard struggle he was doing. All his hair turned grey. Suddenly they were red earlier, but within no time they changed their color. This shows his tension. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill-omitted boots, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes he ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. What happened? Because he was complaining for no work, and he had hurt him also by wearing another big firm made shoes in his house, in his shop. So now, just to repent, the narrator ordered many pairs. Already his shoes were very, durability was very high. So this time he could not visit his shop for next 2 years because he had a good stock of shoes. It was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brothers handling a piece of leather. Now this time when I went there in his shop after 2 years, his elder brother was showing me the piece of leather, meaning his elder brother came to meet me. Well, Mr. Gessler, I said, how are you? He came close and peered at me. I am pretty well, but my elder brother is dead. He said slowly, but my elder brother is dead. He said that I am good, but my elder brother is no more. Before my visit to his, this time it appeared to be his elder brothers handling a piece of leather. And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and wan. Meaning he was looking so pale, colorless this time, so aged. Within 2 years, he was looking very aged. And never before had I heard him mention his brother. Much shocked, I murmured, "Oh, I'm sorry." Earlier, he was coming to show, but he had never mentioned about his elder brother. But this time, he mentioned about his elder brother, but that he is no more. Now, the narrator could not say anything except sorry. He said, "I'm very sorry," because that was a sorry fact that his elder brother is no more. Thank you. We will